Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel, eddieinreadingland. My name is Eddie and today I'm bringing you part 2 of Collections Meets Deck. But this one is the Classics edition. Okay guys, so the original tag was by Candy, Soul, and Soil. I'll be sure to put their information in the description down below. The last video that I did was part 1 and it was about my favorite contemporary books that I have in my collection. Like I mentioned in that other video, I am a bookworm. I think I mentioned that a couple of times in a lot of the videos, but yes, I love reading. I have a lot of books, and today I decided that I was going to tell you that I was going to share with you my top 5 classics, and also pair them with tarot. So we'll just get started. The number 5 on my list is Anne Bronte's The Tennant of Widlfell Hall. This is my favorite of the Bronte sisters, even more than Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre is the most popular, most known book, especially from the sisters. But Anne Bronte did a fantastic job writing a Gothic novel that is that touches on very how can I explain this? It touches on very contemporary issues as well. If you read this novel, you will find that we still have these issues today. But I don't want to spoil it if you guys want to read it. But we follow Helen, who has recently been widowed, and she has a child, and she has moved to Widlfell Hall where she meets Gilbert. Who immediately takes to her, but he's not very certain what to do about what he's feeling for Helen and how to go about the whole situation. She's also a mother, and she's very young too. So, or actually, she was very old, but for the time, but she's young for our time. There are a lot of situations that are talked to on this book concerning faithfulness in marriage, parenthood, romantic relationships where the main male character falls in love with a mother archetype. It's very good. The social dynamic of this book is just incredible, and it does have a happy ending. So, which is unusual for the Bronte sisters, but it's also very dark and it has dark humor to it. So, for that reason, I chose to show you guys Terror of the Abyss by Anna Turian. I have shown this tarot before. I am pairing it with The Tennant of Widlfell Hall because I feel like the tarot does share some of the dark humor. I feel like this tarot deck is more of a shadow deck. Let me center this over here. There we go. It's more of a shadow deck with a twist on humor. The cards, some of the cards have a little bit of humor to it. The most noticeable one that I can think of is the Chariot. But I really like this. Deck. It also has that Edwardian or old feel to it that I also enjoy. We see that and also it goes really well with the cover being black and white, and this deck particularly being black and white as well. But yeah, I love this Ten of Pentacles. It's really good. And very appropriate to the book as well. Now that I think about it, the book also dwells in family and who can be family and how that gets defined by different people. Family. So yeah, that's my first pairing. It was the Tennant of Widlfell Hall by Anne Bronte, and also with the Terror of the Abyss by Anna Turian. Okay, and moving on, I should shuffle these tarot so that you guys get to see different cards all the time and not the same ones. I just like to organize my decks in the structure that they're supposed to be. But yeah, so my next classic is the very famous Jane Austen, but Persuasion. I also do love Pride and Prejudice, which is the most popular novel by Jane Austen. But Persuasion, I love best because the story is a little bit different. It's the trope where the partners have dated before and they become estranged, and years pass and they come back together again. There's also a lot more going on in the book, and there are conversations on trust and who you listen to that's important and when it should be important. That's the reason why I love this book better. And also because I like the main male character, the romantic lead. I feel like it's Patrick Wilson, and I feel like he's really attractive. And actually, we just saw him on an episode of The Other Two. We were watching with my husband. It's an excellent show. But as in any case, for some reason, whenever I read Persuasion, I picture the main male lead as Patrick Wilson. But as in any case, this is a romance book, and it's also a comedy of manners, a sort of comedy of manners. So for this book by Jane Austen, I chose to show you guys Les Vampires by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. I think Lucy Cavendish. Yes, Lucy Cavendish was the one who created the guidebook. But yep, I like this oracle because it also has a little bit of there we go. It also has a little bit of humor to it, and now I'm seeing my favorite card in the deck is my second favorite card. I'm sorry, my favorite card is called Thirst, but this is in fact Miss Havisham from now I'm blanking on the name. Great Expectations. This is the infamous Miss Havisham from that book. But anyway, coming back to why I paired it with Persuasion, this deck is incredibly good with relationship advice and relationship readings, especially I believe in when there's a breakup, after a breakup. This is a very direct yet gentle oracle. It will tell you what you need to hear, but it is going to do it in a very gentle way, and that's why I like doing readings with this deck for people when they have gone through a breakup and they need to hear the truth, but they also need to know how to move on and get a message of hope. I feel it plays really well with Persuasion because the main female character of the book, which by the way, her name is Anne too. The reason why she left the relationship that she was in was because she listened to the person who. Oh, here's my favorite card of the deck, Thirst. I really, really, really enjoy this card, guys. Of the Oracle. It just, you can definitely see the thirst in the expression that she's providing us. And I love how it's a close-up to this expression. I believe that the art is actually, there's more to the art around it, but I love that they made the decision to really bring the focus on her face, because this is just genius. This is beautiful. I really, really love this card. But coming back again to Persuasion and Le Vampire, she listens to very bad advice from the person who raised her, and she decides to break up the relationship. And then after so many years, they, spoilers, they get back together. But she starts trusting herself and her intuition, and she started making her own decisions. And I feel like that's how I connect Persuasion with Le Vampire. This deck does tend to provide some sort of hope and solidarity to the person who just has gone through the breakup. So that's why I like using this deck for mainly for that reason. But yeah, so let's move on to the next one. Let's see. Okay, so for the next book that I have chosen my favorite Agatha Christie, and it's Murder on the Orient Express. So I do admit and logically know that And Then There Were None is a better mystery book than Murder on the Orient Express. But this is my favorite for various reasons. There's very little that I can talk to about this book without spoiling anything. But if you have seen the movie, or any of the movies, and or have read the book, then you guys know that the resolution for the problem in this book, for the mystery in this book, is just so delicious. So delicious. It's like eating a cinnamon bun roll with coffee in the morning. It's just the thing. It's just a treat. It is a Poirot mystery, so we get Poirot. And the whole basis of the book is that there's a murder committed in a train. Everybody gets strapped in the train, and Poirot needs to learn who was responsible for the killing. The twist is incredible. If you want to read an Agatha Christie, read Murder on the Orient Express. It's my favorite from her. I love her. I have read most of her books now. My grandmother was a fan of Agatha Christie as well, so that's where I get it from. No, that's not true. Or maybe it is. I don't know. But yes, anyway, Murder on the Orient Express. I have paired it with Dream of Nile. Look at that, guys. I think I've shown this before, but isn't that like one of the best presentations of a tarot deck ever? This is genius! But yes, I've paired it with Dream of Nile because, oops, there we go. I just feel like it has the, let me just switch it over like this so that we can see some of the major arcana, because that's where this tarot shines with the major arcana anyway. I paired it. I'm sorry. I'm just losing my speech as we speak. I paired it with Dream of Nile because it just gives me the same vibes. When I used this deck for daily draws, it was providing me information about myself that I wasn't paying attention to and that I should have, which is something that I would say as well for the book. This tarot is very good on guiding you to a hidden direction, a direction that you may not even thought to explore when you're working with this tarot. And I feel like that is very much Murder on the Orient Express. And actually, I can say that about any of the books in Agatha Christie's, any of the Agatha Christie's. But the other reason why I immediately thought of this tarot deck when I picked up Murder on the Orient Express is because the novel, when I read it, I start imagining the scenes in sepia and in very earthy tones. And this deck, to me, utilizes very earthy tones, even though it's very colorful, as you guys can see. But the colors that she decided to use for the deck are all very earthy, or it feels very grounded for some reason. And obviously, Agatha Christie doesn't disappoint ever. She does manage to ground you, and she has she's my favorite mystery writer, but she has this way of providing all of the clues and still making you not be able to figure it out. And that's one of the things that I like about Agatha Christie. But this deck does give you clues, but it does provide you with answers as well. So I guess that's how they differ from each other. But I do enjoy working with the Dream of Nile Tarot, and she did an amazing job. I'm blanking out on the name of the creator. I have one of her decks. Let me see if I can find it. Emma Zhang. Her name is Emma Zhang. I think that Emma did a fantastic job with this tarot. Oh, here's the Hang Mummy instead of the Hang one. But yeah, it gives me the same mystery sort of vibe with a hidden undertone to it. A more hidden undertone to it, I should say. But yes. So that was the Dream of Nile Tarot and Murder on the Orient Express. Okay, and on to the next one. Let's see. The next book is my second favorite classic. I read this every year, and it's Frankenstein. I read it for Halloween, of course, every year. I love Frankenstein. I like how Mary Shelley was able to provide us two perspectives for Frankenstein, one for Dr. Frankenstein and one for the creature, which I like to call Adam, even though she never gives the creature a name. He's just referred to as the creature or the monster or the wretch, the demon. You guys can tell that I've read this book and I read it every year because it's just, oh God, it's so good. But I like how she's able to play with morality with this book, and in the sense that at first when you read the novel, we are rooting for Dr. Frankenstein. We are hoping that he is able to get away from the creature. We're also rooting for him because he's scared. He's running away. But then she starts twisting the narrative to where we're actually siding with the creature at some point. and we start sympathizing with the creature, and we start learning the creature's feelings and how life has been treating the creature, and how that makes an impact to someone who is very new, is very naive, and it's trying to learn, and it's learning fast. So I like that duality in the novel. Frankenstein is not at all like any of the movies that have been released about Frankenstein or claiming to be based on Frankenstein. The book is way more philosophical. Which for some reason I like, even though I don't like philosophy. But also it's very psychological in the sense that we are really going deep inside both Dr. Frankenstein's and the creature's minds, and we're learning what they're thinking and their thought patterns and how they're behaving. And I also like the cover of this book. I mean, guys, come on, look at it. It's so cool. I love this. I have 3 copies of Frankenstein. This is the copy that I do not read. I have another copy that I use for reading when I'm reading it. This is the pristine copy that never gets used, and it just lies on my shelf all beautiful and pretty like this. So yes. But for Frankenstein, I decided on the Lepus Tarot by Witchy Cauldron. And yes, I paired it because they share the same color scheme. Or similar color scheme. But for some reason, I feel like the main character or the characters depicted on these cards are very very expressionistic horror. It's very, sometimes it could be very whimsical horror, but in my case, what it does, this deck does, is that it's giving me an image that I know it's scary, but the more I see the image on these cards, the more I want to sympathize with the characters depicted in the cards. So I'm gonna give you an example. Let's see. This looks like a very angry hare. They look scary. They look older. They also definitely they look cold to me, even though they're surrounded by so much, so many resources, so much gain, so much fruit. But at the same time, I kind of want to be there so that I can warn this animal and assure them that the fruits of their labor are enough and that they're able to really feel proud of what they have achieved, and now that it's time for them to actually enjoy their work and be at peace. Try to listen to the birds around you. Try to listen to what the plants are telling them, which is a similar feel of what Mary Shelley does to us when reading Frankenstein. So that's why I paired it, really. I feel like this deck is the creatures are misunderstood. I feel like their message is dark, yes, but it's in order for me as the interpreter, as the reader, to really sympathize and try to see the good in the situation. or accept that there's something bad or sad, but that it's not going to be forever. That's why I paired the Lepus Tarot with Frankenstein. There is a note of hope in Frankenstein. There's also an underlying tone of faith as well. And I feel like this is what this tarot is also giving me. Yes, it's dark. Yes, it's monstrous. But yes, it's that way for a reason. There are layers to this. There are layers to this behavior. There are layers to these actions. That's why I like pairing these. Or that's why I decided to pair this tarot with Frankenstein. God, did I get a deep in this video with Frankenstein and Lepus Tarot? Well, if so, I will end with my favorite book of all time. Not only for the classics, but it is a classic, and I spoiled it on my last video. But it is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Now, this is a version that was illustrated by, what is her name? Camille Rose Garcia. I believe she used to do illustrations for Disney, but her illustrations are just so whimsical and weird and peculiar and dark. I could say that they're a bit scary, but they're not really scary. They're just warped and weird, and I love them. Let me show you. There are full page imagery that could be. Oh, here we go. Look at that. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that just weird? I just love that. These illustrations are amazing. Amazing. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland is my favorite book for various reasons. It was the first book that I read by myself after my grandmother taught me how to read. It's a lot of nostalgia for me. This book I read every year for my birthday, without fail, always. Not specifically this. I actually have a lot of copies of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland on my bookshelf, but they're in different languages. Thankfully, I've had friends who are from other nationalities, and whenever they go back to their home country, they were kind enough to get for me a copy of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland in their native language. So I have a lot. Maybe I should do a video about that. That would be fun. What do you guys think? Should I make a video about my collection of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland books? I would like to do one. But as in any case, I identify a lot when I was younger with Alice. Alice being very curious, and Alice just going from one crazy character to another. There's really no plot on this book at all. Alice doesn't learn anything. She doesn't really contribute to anything in the narrative. She's just there as an audience of the things that are happening to her, and she has no control over anything that's happened or that's happening to her, which is how I used to feel when I was little, especially growing up around my blood relatives. Sometimes it would get crazy, sometimes it would get sad. That's a whole other discussion for another day. But my favorite character in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland is actually the Cheshire Cat. That's why I have the Cheshire Cat for my channel icon and my channel banner. He is just incredibly crazy. I love his lines. He's so confusing. He's so contradictory. He is... he's dissipating as he speaks, which I'm hopefully able to do one day if I'm able to do it. That would be hilarious and amazing. But But yeah, this book brings me a lot of joy. It makes me smile. All the crazy things that happens to it. It makes me remember the happy times when I was growing up, which I'm thankful to have had. To be very blunt, but yeah. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, I could have paired it with my favorite tarot, but they don't really go together. My favorite tarot being the Shadowscapes Tarot by Stephanie Pui-Munlo. I think I've shown that enough on the channel already. And you guys are going to see more of it anyway. But when I thought about a tarot that went with the vibe of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and all the crazy things, I thought about the Cucularis Tarot. This is the White Knight special version. It's still available on the creator's website, on Masa's website, but it reminded me of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and also this deck also reminds me of my childhood. This is the deck that I like to use when I'm doing inner child work. Why? Because it's whimsical. It has a touch of humor to it, but it's also serious enough that I'm able to focus on the things that I want to focus with this tarot in my inner child work. I really like the color palette on this deck. Even though it's very minimal, as you guys can see. Maybe I should do a full walkthrough of this tarot and actually make a review about it, because it's a really great tarot. I really like it. But as you can see, it does have a some sort of level of sinister as well within the whimsy. There are all silhouettes. All of them are silhouettes. But see what I mean about being fun and serious at the same time, being whimsical and with a touch of sinister to it. It's like baking the perfect blend of weird pie, in my opinion. But yes, it reminds me a lot of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. There's really no rhyme or reason to the depictions on the cards, I feel. No, that's not right. There is a purpose to the depiction of the cards, but they don't really there's not a real there's not just one thread moving around the whole tarot, as you guys can see, because here we have gears and we have a person who is probably from Victorian times, and here we have something more fruitful and somebody who is probably more from the modern times. I mean, you just don't know what you're going to get. Now we have a clown with two children. Well, two anthropomorphic animal children things. It's just fun. The tarot is very fun. The tarot is very different. It's almost as if you're jumping from one crazy character to another, just like Alice does on the book. And for that reason, I really like this pairing. And for that reason as well, I decided to pair this tarot with Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. This is not my favorite tarot, like I said before, but it is the only tarot that I use for inner child work, and it is my favorite for that. See, this is a really weird Two of Pentacles, but we all get the idea. I just really enjoy working with this deck. There are additional cards to this deck. I kind of want to do a flip through now and a review of this book, but I mean of this tarot, so that you guys can see it, because I don't think I have seen it on YouTube a lot or at all. But yeah, I mean, let me know in the comments if you guys want to see a flip through and a review of this tarot, because I think I will enjoy doing it, but just because I really like talking about tarot and the tarot that I have. But yes, guys, so those are the my classics version of collection meets decks. I hope you guys liked it. I really enjoy making in this video, especially trying to pair the tarots with my favorite books, with my favorite classics at least. If you haven't checked part 1 of this, please go ahead and do so. It was my video before. I'm not really sure if I know how to tag things in videos yet, but I'll learn. I'm learning. It's a learning experience. But yes, guys, thank you so much for being with me in this video and letting me talk about books, because I love books. And thank you so much also for letting me participate in this VR or in this tag, this hashtag. I hope that you enjoy the pairings. Let me know in the comments below which one's your favorite. Let me know anything on the comments below. Are any of these books your favorite? Do you also love Alice's Adventures in Wonderland as much as I do? Thank you again, guys, so much for this. I really appreciate your time. And goodbye, YouTube.